Hello, Lightning Leaders. In this video, we are going to go over the questions that were part of last week's Scholastic articles. I want to go over them because I know some of you really had some difficulty with them. Those questions were questions that we have been talking about throughout the year, and I wanted to see who remembered how to answer them with some articles you've never seen before. So a mix of some new stuff and some old stuff to kick off that first week of Stepping Forward. I want to start with the article about the wild world. So let's see if we can get the screen up here. Give it a second. All right. Wild world. Now, this was about the different biomes in the world. Now, the first question was just to put your name in there so that I knew what answers went with what student. I also have a setting so that it's linked to your district email so that when you submitted your answers, I had two ways of knowing who it was. The first question was, what was the author's purpose for writing this article? We've talked about author's purpose a lot. There are only three ways, or I say there's only three purposes we've talked about: to inform, to entertain, and to persuade. And you can fit every single piece of writing into these three categories. So our job was, what was the author's purpose for this article? Now, this was a nonfiction article, which means that the author's purpose was to inform us. The author's purpose was to tell us about these different parts of the world. So that's why the answer was to inform. Now, you could argue that it was for entertainment. If you're someone that likes to read nonfiction and read about different biomes and parts of the world, yeah, it could be entertaining for you. But the main purpose that the author was going for was to inform you about those places in the world. How did this article add to what you already knew about these parts of the world? Well, this is for you. There's really no wrong answer here. You just have to take something. Let's say you already knew about deserts or rainforest, and you could say something new that you learned from the article. The next question was about the text structures. And I said that you can check more than one because as I was going through it, I found that there really was more than one. It really was a descriptive article because the author was describing different parts. They were really describing them. Now, let me actually go back to, hold on. I want to pull up the actual article. So let me switch over to Google Classroom here and switch over to the classwork, the Scholastic articles, and here we go. The wild world. So it really was a description of the Amazon rainforest, of Death Valley, and the Arctic tundra. Now, we also could have found in here sequential because they went in order. First was the rainforest, then was Death Valley, then was the Arctic tundra. It was a sequence that the author followed with each of the pieces of the article. And then hidden in there was actually cause and effect. It was hidden inside one of these articles. And I believe it was down here. Yes. It was down here in the Arctic section. It says that winter lasts 10 months and temperatures average just -30 degrees. The ground is mostly covered in snow, and animals like the snowy owl over here in the picture that have white feathers can blend in the snow and help them sneak up on prey. But during the summer, the tundra explodes with life. As soon as the snow melts, herbs and flowers pop up. Cause and effect. The snow melts, the flowers come back. Warm weather also brings insects like mosquitoes and attracts birds such as the American tree sparrow, which travels from the northern US to feast. So the warm weather causes insects, the effect brings in the birds. So there was actually 3 text structures you could have found in there. This was a tough one. And then what details in the article helped you find those text structures? Well, anything I just talked about would have been a good example for cause and effect. These adaptations are cause and effect too, because these kangaroos had to live on tiny amounts of water, so they adapted to be able to survive, cause and effect. So that was, let's see, Wild World. That was it for the Wild World section. Now I want to talk about the Washington's Secrets. So let's talk about the Washington Secrets article. And this was really cool. You guys know I love history, so this was a really cool article. I enjoyed it. Again, the first thing was to put your name down so I know who was answering. Then I wanted you to list all of the text features that you see in the article. And I gave you a little hint. These are the headings, the bold text. So if we go back to the article, we've got a picture. That's a text feature. We have a caption. That's a text feature. We have a title. That's a text feature. We have bold lettering. That's a text feature. We have subheadings. That's a text feature. We have a little diagram here, a chart. That's another text feature. We have a map. That's a text feature. So there was a lot to choose from in this very short article. You had a lot to choose from. Then my next question was, what is a capital? And if you came to the article and you scrolled through, you notice that this word capital is blue. And when I hover over it, this little hand comes up. I can click on it. And then the definition comes up. The capital is the city in a country or state where the government is based. So this was the answer to that question right there. It was a definition question. And using our text, our context clues and our digital text features, this blue highlighted text, to answer the question. Then there was this question about why Washington did not want to be president. This is what is called an explicit question, meaning that the answer was right in the text. If you go to this article, he didn't really want to be president. You can find it right here. He wanted to go home to Virginia and retire. He didn't want to continue his life as, running the country. He wanted to just go home and relax. So that was the answer there. And then the last question, what thing did Washington not do? Well, if we go through here, it says that he led a ring of spies. So that's not the answer. We see here that he never lived in the White House. So that could be the answer, but we got to check the other two. It says he got sick a lot, so it can't be that answer. And it says that he was an amazing dancer, so it can't be the last answer. So our only choice was that he lived in the White House, because he didn't. He was not the first president to live in the White House. So that was the 4 answers for these questions as well. I hope this was helpful in going through and reviewing some of the things we've talked about in class. I'm going to continue to sprinkle in these kinds of questions to really practice these skills that you're going to be using no matter what grade level you're in or what text you read. These kinds of questions are going to pop up all the time. So again, I hope that this video was helpful. And I will be creating a video like this every week to go over the answers in the articles that I post. So I'll see you guys next time.